Hey, good afternoon. Again, coming off a good win yesterday in Seattle. Excited about the win, but also quickly have moved on to Pittsburgh, and it's going to be a very difficult task this week. I know Coach Tomlin is going to have those guys prepared and ready to play, and they're going to come in here with the mindset of trying to get a win, and we've got to make sure that we're focused and locked in. Definitely want to talk to our fans, who I feel like are the best fans in NFL football. Definitely want those guys to come out and support this football team in high fashion, and to keep those Steeler fans out of the Bank of America Stadium. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Great. Thank you, Coach. We'll go to Steve Reed, followed by Darren Gant.
Hey, Coach. Sorry, I got a little feedback here. What does it feel like to be able to control your own destiny? You guys win the next four, you're in the playoffs. I mean, that has to be an incredible feeling given where you came from.
Our approach, to be quite honest with you, Steve, hasn't changed, and that is just the mindset of just winning the day. Taking it one at a time, as I stated when I first took over. We're going to wait and see exactly at the end where we are. But we don't want to look past our next opponent, which right now is Pittsburgh.
Steve, there was a spot yesterday where you guys put the eighth offensive lineman on the field. You've said since day one you wanted everything starts up front. How central are those guys to the personality that you're putting together here with this team?
I think, across the board, we have really adopted and accepted the mindset and the culture that we want up front, which is really just that blue-collar mentality, smash-mouth football, running the ball, as you saw late in the fourth quarter when we were able to do that. So Ben McAdoo, the offensive staff, have done a tremendous job in really trying to build on that, and you saw that yesterday with the three extra linemen in the game.
Let's go to Mike Solarte, followed by David Newton.
Good afternoon, Coach. I have a couple. First, did you have a conversation with Ben about the four pass plays in that first and goal series in the third quarter, and did you guys talk about what went down there, why he decided to try to throw the ball there?
Well, we have constant communication even throughout the game right there, Mike, and on the headsets. And I think Sam may have alluded to this last night, if I recall, that a lot of those two of them for sure were RPOs. And Sam elected right there, based off the look that he saw, he wanted to be able to throw the ball. So I have no question, or I don't question the calls down there. And Sam would tell you this, he had an opportunity on another one to be able to run it in for a touchdown. So, we were able to do what we wanted to do in the end, which is win the game. In that particular sequence, I don't question at all.
And then my follow-up is there's been a major groundswell the last 24, 48 hours about having a team remove that interim tag from you. Have you had any conversations with Mr. Tepper in regards to that, or are you continuing to just go day by day?
My approach, Mike, is day by day. And as I mentioned earlier, man, it's just really trying to win another game. And that's all about Pittsburgh. Talked about really trying to defend the bank, coming home and do something what we've been able to do the last couple of weeks, which is win here. So I'm not concerned with that. These players aren't concerned with that. Our main focus right now is just trying to win the day and take it one at a time.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, David here. Wanted to ask you a couple questions. One was on DJ. What was DJ Moore injured, or what was going on with him at the end of the game?
Well, right now, David, I can tell you this: he is getting the MRI, and that's the only thing I can, give you guys right now. I will have more information on Wednesday to give you the details of that particular injury.
Can you tell me detail? I mean, like, was it knee or what's on MRI on what?
Well, right now, it was communicated to me that I think it's a possible ankle, but we'll wait and see exactly what happens there.
Okay. Another thing is, what Sam, I mean, I know you've been wanting to get him in there, give him a look. His numbers aren't splashy or impressive, but he hasn't made mistakes and he's led the team consistently down and managed the game. What do you like most about what he's done with this offense and why he's such a good fit with what you want to do?
Well, I think that the one important thing that we talk about all the time is not turning the ball over. And in the last 2 weeks, we haven't done that offensively. So that's always critical when you feel like you can play good defense and be solid in the kicking game. You don't want to turn the ball over. So that's one of the things that I praise him on the last couple of weeks, not being able to do that. And you also saw yesterday his ability, his athletic ability to be able to win with his feet. To be quite honest, I wish he would have taken a little bit more opportunities when those lanes open up to really run and get the first down, because he does have a skill set in doing that.
Is he a guy, I mean, you're looking at obviously an audition for the future too, that could be a guy that could lead this team in the future years?
Well, again, David, I'm looking at him being able to lead this team to another win this week against Pittsburgh. And that's the only thing that we're looking at right now, because nothing is guaranteed.
Thank you.
All right, Mike Kay, then Ellis.
Hey, Steve, I had two questions for you. One, you brought up how demoralizing it can be as a defensive coordinator to just be run on constantly down the stretch of a game. Obviously, we've seen Deontay take off, but to show on tape Raheem and Chuba really having a strong game, how much do you think that impacts opposing defensive coordinators moving forward?
I can only speak on my experience, and it's troubling sometimes when, again, a team has a solid run game, and not only just one guy, but I feel very confident in all three guys being able to get in there and perform. And you saw that yesterday with Chuba having some critical runs down the stretch, getting first downs, and then Raheem with a touchdown. So, again, I talk about it all the time, but we want to make sure that we establish the run game up front. All right, we run the ball when we want to, and most importantly, we ran the ball in the fourth quarter when we had to.
And then my follow-up to that is on the other side of the ball. Kenny Pickett's in concussion protocol, but he and Trubisky have pretty similar games. In a situation like that where you don't know who's going to play Sunday, do you just kind of study the offense more, or do you try to focus on both players?
I think it's really more of the offense. You may have a few tendencies what they may do with one guy, but it's really more the offensive scheme, and that's what we're going to focus on.
Hey, Steve. I'm wondering, obviously we're talking at nauseam about the 244 rushing yards you guys compiled. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the fact that of the three running backs who had carries, there was not a back who had a longer rush than 12 yards. What does that say about your offense that you guys are able to do what you did yesterday so methodically?
Well, I'm not so much looking at, the 12 yards or less or longer. It's just an opportunity to be able to continue to operate the offense, and eventually those long runs are going to pop, So when you spread it out the way we did yesterday and really trying to take the workload off of one person, I thought all those guys stepped up and performed well. So as we continue to grind and implement, the things that we're trying to do offensively, you'll see those explosive runs come, as well as the play-action passes as well.
Sure. And one more real quick. Eddie was perfect yesterday. He's having a stellar season. His field goal percentage is second best in the league. Can you just speak to the peace of mind having a kicker like that does for you and your coaching staff?
Well, it just really builds confidence within the team, having an opportunity to know that you're in a situation where you can get points on the board. And Eddie has performed well. The guys, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, rallied behind Eddie as well as myself. And I'm proud of the way he's bounced back and the consistency that he's operating under right now. It's great.
Thank you.
Go to Skylar Callahan and Joe Person, please.
Hey, Steve. Frankie had another active day yesterday. Seems like he's just all over the place seemingly every week. I think he was kind of the reason why that one interception happened as well. Just what have you seen from him just as the season's gone on, and do you feel like he's kind of playing at a Pro Bowl caliber right now?
I think he's playing at a high level, played well yesterday. Frankie is just, he's like the Energizer Bunny. You know, he just plays with a lot of energy. He's all over the place. He's physical, can play out in space. We blitz him a lot, to try to create pressure on the quarterback. And he's real smart in just seeing things. He reacted and responded to that screen. Almost had an interception there yesterday. So he had a phenomenal game.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Doing well. Hope you are.
I've got a couple. I'll just pop through these if that's okay. Do you, what play did DJ get hurt on, and what's your level of concern there?
It was late in the fourth quarter. I don't know exactly the number play, but you can see where he was blocking, and then somebody got rolled into him. He left and walked off the field. Level of concern right now, I can't tell you until the results come back from the MRI, and I know that information and be able to get that to you guys on Wednesday. So I'm hoping that it's not serious and that we have him moving forward.
And Burns said that he's still kind of slowed by that knee from a couple weeks ago. How disconcerting is it to have him at what appears to be less than full speed right now?
To be quite honest, I would take him at less speed, and the things that he's able to do on that football field like he did yesterday. I know with his caliber play and the perception that a lot of people have of him, which is rightfully so, when he doesn't have the sacks and what many can see the splash plays, they think it's not a good game. But he did a lot of critical things yesterday, setting the edge on that outside zone toss play, really stringing the running back out, allowing other guys to get over the top. So I can sit here and point out several things that he did as what I consider to be factors in making the play. So I would take him again at lesser speed. But we're definitely hoping that he can get back to 100% soon.
And then finally, you opened talking about getting fans out Sunday. Having grown up here, there's always a good number of Steeler fans that show up. How important is it, not just for this Sunday, but as you try to kind of build this identity and get the fans back, is that something you think is going to be a little longer process than these next 2 weeks would afford?
I hope not, because again, it's not just wasted words on my part. I truly believe that we have the greatest fans in NFL football. I've been around here. I've been in that stadium when you couldn't even hear yourself talk because it was so loud. Success we had here in the past. So I am asking, and for our fans to show up in mass this week, so we can have that same atmosphere when we play the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, Darren Gant, please.
Steve, obviously Monday, Tuesday are kind of the busier days in terms of game plan and that kind of stuff for coaches. What's it like just logistically coming off a late night, overnight flight? Nobody's got a lot of sleep. How does that impact, and what's it been like in y'all's offices today?
Well, Darren, to be honest, that's just part of the job. You have away games and you get back early in the morning. You try to watch the tape, which most of the coaches did on the plane last night, trying to grade the tape. And we get in here and we immediately start on Pittsburgh. So when our guys come back in here tomorrow, as they check in with the training staff, we can start giving them, a jump on the game plan. So when they get in here on Wednesday, when we start practice, we're ready to go. So the coaches came in here, got a little bit of rest, but, we're all working, as I mentioned before, trying to come up with a great game plan for this weekend.
Scott Fowler, please.
Steve, I'm interested in something you just said about being in the stadium where you could barely hear yourself talk. I wonder if you could cite one or two examples where you've been in that stadium and you think it's as loud or louder than anywhere else in the NFL.
It was a home game against the Saints, I mean, it was pretty loud that day. And we had some different weather to where I think we had all 3 seasons in one game, to where it rained and felt like it was going to snow a little bit, and then the sun came out later. But the crowd was phenomenal. And then I go back to the 2015 NFC Championship game against Arizona. You know, it's always been some different games, but those two stand out for sure.
You talking about that game where Kuechly made that interception on Breeze, that Saints game?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Vashti, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Kind of piggybacking off of Darren's question. The guys had Victory Monday today. I can't remember the last time they had a Victory Monday. Can you just talk about the importance of kind of rewarding your team when they have successes and your philosophy behind that?
Well, number one, I learned this years ago, particularly this time of the year, and then coming off a West Coast trip, that, you know, it's good to be able to give those guys a Victory Monday, you know, when we win. And they deserve it. Same thing with the bye week. You know, normally in a situation to where if the bye comes early in the season, we would normally practice quite a bit that week. But with it being so late, I opted to give those guys the opportunity to get away a little bit, recharge, and come back. And I commend them once again, their focus to be able to go out and get a win on the road like they did. So it's rewarding, but as Shaq mentioned yesterday in the locker room when I announced that, you know, make sure that, you know, we get in there, we take care of our bodies, we do the things that we have to do to make sure that we're ready to go on Wednesday. So it just shows, again, just the maturity and the leadership in that locker room when you do things like that.
David Newton, and back to Joe Person.
Hey, Steve, again, speculating a little bit, it's assuming DJ's injury keeps him out for a few weeks, who do you look to step up there and fill those shoes?
I'm not going to, you know, really elaborate and you know, talk about that until I really know exactly what's going on. So I don't want to put anything out there with names and where we're going until I actually know the true situation of DJ.
Okay, and when you guys looked at the replay of the catch between the legs by Terrace, can you talk about what your reaction was when you saw that again, late last night or early this morning, and how he stepped up?
Yeah, I thought it was a great effort on his part, you know, and initially when I saw it on the field, I really thought he kept it, you know, in between his legs. But, of course, you know, with the instant replay, you can see on the Jumbotron, you saw a little bit of it did touch the ground. So, you know, I didn't question the call at all. And, again, I think when you look at Terrace and the way he's been playing and performing, we always talk about trying to take the next step. And I've seen that with him, you know, not only with his catching, but the way he blocks. So he's just really trying to become an all-around complete player.
Appreciate it.
Steve, what's Xavier Woods' status this week?
Well, hopefully we'll be able to get him back, Joe. I still can't tell you that until Wednesday, and we'll see exactly where he is from a standpoint of reps and how he can, you know, go out there and perform in practice.
He was questionable. Did he have any kind of late week setback or anything?
Well, again, I try to go really on the pulse of the players, and you know, we tried to push him a little bit, and he didn't feel comfortable with that, and I respect that. So I didn't want to put him out there in that situation. So I wanted to give him another week to try to heal up.
And during that that goal line sequence we've asked you about, I think before the fourth down play, you had run down or jogged down. It looked like you were going to call a timeout. What was that? What was going on there?
Well, I was really trying to see what look we were getting defensively. And as I was talking to the coaches on the headsets, we felt good about the look. So if it wasn't something that we liked, I was going to call the timeout, you know, but we felt good about it. So therefore I let it go.
And then real quick, you mentioned like some of these looks wanting to get Sam running the ball, you know, getting him more comfortable doing that. How and he's had success doing it. Like, how do you think that process is going to work, and why do you think he's been a little reluctant?
Well, I think most quarterbacks, want to try to win the game or, excuse me, want to push the ball down the field with their arm, because that's who they are. But we need to show him and let him understand when there's opportunities right there to be able to open up and run and go get the first down or get positive yardage. We need to do that. So I think it's just more a conversation and just talking to him and showing him the plus behind that.
Steve, Eddie was brought up earlier. A lot of guys have praised you for your honesty and how you just keep it 100. But I guess the other thing that you've done is really backed guys when they've had kind of blunders or mistakes. CJ, Eddie, Shy, and stuck with them, and it's paid off. As a teacher, why do you think that's so important to a locker room, to show examples of guys making mistakes and then rebounding the way that they have?
I think that's what you just mentioned, Mike. As a teacher, I think a teacher understands that all the students are different, and they may learn at different paces and whatnot, and they may have different struggles, but how are you going to help those individuals through that process? And that's our job as coaches, that's our job as teachers. And again, it's just always being honest and upfront. I praise them when they do well, and really try to correct them when they need to be corrected. So, Eddie did not, weeks ago didn't lose that game as many people tried to allude. We had plenty of opportunities to do that. So I'm going to embrace him and put my arm around him and let him know that we still believe in you. And, hit the reset button, let's go play. And you've seen that over the weeks. He's been consistent. So, I like where he is right now.
All right. Thank you, Coach Wilks.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
All
Steve.
right. Thank you.